Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. I know a lot of people hate when I do that, but sometimes you have to because some of these mechanisms don't work the way they want. We're telling your followers that we're following, and there we are. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first episode of Live from My Mother's Basement for the year 2023. I am so excited and super psyched to be in the basement after not being here for almost a month, that we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. So watch, hang out, and let's see what I got in store for you tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time for the new year, I have a police officer, ex-police officer on the show. Maybe you want to say retired cop, retired police officer, but now he's an author, now he's a podcaster, and now he's a superific guy because he came all the way over to my house here in Scotch Plains, New Jersey to be on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, a big applause. I know you guys are cheering out there. This is Kevin Donaldson. What's up, bro?
What's happening, my
Holy
friend?
shit, look at the guns on this asshole. Go ahead, put your arm back up there.
Oh, you want that?
Motherfucker.
Hold on, you gotta get it over here, right?
Show it in there. Show it in there.
You're good for my ego, Mike. I'm gonna have to start hanging around you
I'm
more.
great for a lot of people's egos. That's what we're here to do. We're here to stroke everybody's ego and make you feel good. I got to start off by saying I've been noticing the tattoos. My whole life, I don't have no tattoos. It wasn't the thing when I was younger. I think if you had tattoos when I was younger, you were labeled a certain type of guy. Maybe you were in Hell's Angels or some shit like that. Or maybe you were a war veteran, or maybe you were a Vietnam guy. My father got birds on his shoulders.
Well, the tattoos weren't in when I was younger either, but I always wanted a tattoo. You see this one? I'll show it to you right here. Right there. Okay, it's a little lightning bolt. It's hard to see on camera. I did that when I was 13 years old with a needle and India ink.
Oh, no shit.
I covered it with a Band-Aid, and one day my father saw it. My God, he tattooed my ass is what he did.
Remember that term? Ooh. I'll tattoo your ass.
And that's exactly what I think he cracked it the other way. I got hit so hard. 13 years old.
He had his ass split in two directions.
That way when I go down a slide, it goes blah, 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 blah.
I don't think anybody's even heard the term India ink in years. Is it Indio or India?
I always called it India ink, but
India ink.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure.
Where do you even get that?
I think I got it at an art supply store or something like that. Always wanted a tattoo, always, my whole life.
So how do you do it?
You dip it in there, you little dot 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 dot. That's the way the old tattoos were done, except it was done with whalebone. I became a student of tattoos over the years. They used to put whalebone on a stick and pop 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 pop.
I'm looking at the tattoo. It's really small. I would assume you're talking about some like a threading needle.
Yeah, like a sewing needle.
Oh,
Sewing
man,
needle. That's all I did.
Fucking hurt like hell.
But you know what? So when I was in my 20s, I was a little embarrassed by it because it's kind of wonky. But now I wear it like a badge of honor. That's my first tattoo. I will never ever cover that up, no matter how many tattoos I get.
What's it supposed to be?
It's a lightning bolt.
Somebody sent us money.
Nice.
Send us more money. We need money. Who put the money in there?
Was it pressed with
It's
Jess?
India ink. We know. We're saying, and we just said India ink. 13 tattoos. Yes, sir. All right, keep on watching. This is gonna get crazy. Keep on sending the money, Facebook.
But that's one of those that I wear like a badge of honor, and there will be no. I'll never stop getting tattoos. I have probably 50 or 60 throughout my body, and if it was a different type of show, I'd show you more. But we're close enough right now.
No, I don't need. This is my brother Anthony. Anthony, watch the show. I'm coming to Florida tomorrow. I never did that, but I did know kids that did do that when we were younger, and I still haven't gotten any. However, I know some famous tattoo artists that always said, "Hey, look, I'll hook you up free." Money, send that cash. I want more money. Send that money. Thank you.
My kid was gonna
Folks, you guys can actually send us money on Facebook while we're doing the podcast tonight. And obviously, we're broke.
What's my cut?
I'll give you 5 cents on a nickel. I had recently a scar on my calf, and I wanted to go see my friend. They call him Mr. Jones. He's in Boston, and I was thinking of going all the way to Boston just to get the scar tattooed, like a big tattoo over the scar. And I was thinking about getting the state of New Jersey with a lot of beautiful colors and something like that.
I saw a girl with a state of New Jersey tattoo on her, and I had a few in me, and I was being a wise ass. I said, "What's that? Every place you got banged in the state?" It was just the entire state of New Jersey. Very rude, very very bad for me to say that, but You got so that's what you got to think of when you get a tattoo. Think of not now. Think of 10 years from now.
Oh, wow.
That's where you got to start thinking.
I had a friend who was actually a police officer, and he would do comedy on the side. And he did a joke. He said, girls today will get tattoos of roses, but in the future, when they get older, it'll be a long stem.
Oh, that's club soda.
Club soda.
That's club soda.
Oh, he does that?
I know. Yeah, that's club soda did that one.
I guess everybody's doing that joke.
Yeah.
I don't. But you got a lot of tattoos.
I do.
So that first tattoo, so when was the next time you decided, okay, let me just start decorating myself? Send that cash, baby, cash.
Nice.
Raise me enough money to go pay for my tattoo by Mr. Jones. And we'll film it. We'll make it an episode of Live from My Mother's Basement.
My next tattoo, I think the day I turned 18, I went into Atlantic City, and it was Fat Tony. Fat Tony was right on Atlantic Avenue, right across the street from Tony's Baltimore Bar and Grill. And he lived up to his name. He was about 500 pounds, but he was covered head to toe with his tattoos. And that's, once you get one.
He did tattoos?
He did tattoos. Once you get one, that's it. You're done.
It's what everybody says. Once you get a tattoo, that's it. You start decorating your whole body.
Well, look at it this way, Mike. So you have this delicious looking crumb cake right here. Okay? It's beautiful. It's delicious.
Don't bring that into the fold yet. Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
It's beautiful, and you're going to enjoy it. Okay?
Nobody knows. Oh my God. This smell of this just went by my nose.
It does smell like it. I think iPhone's coming out with smell-o-vision, so pretty soon you'll be able to do it.
That's okay. We got a lot of shit we need to cover, but I got to get this tattoo thing out because I do want to get a tattoo. I think it's going to be on my bucket list. I don't know if I'm a sleeves guy, but I think maybe you're right. I get something, I'm going to want something else. So is that a sleeve or is that semi-sleeve?
So
Put it
it's
in the camera.
It started up here, and I got one for my grandfather. It was awesome. And it just started here, and then I recently had it all the way done down here, which incorporated a lot of different. It's hard to see in the camera, but incorporated a lot of tattoos. Like this is the Punisher, but it's a blue line Punisher because I was a cop, so I have to represent there. And it's one of those things that I always wanted to have.
You got your whole back done?
I got my chest done. I got some stuff on my back. Money.
Send that cash.
Money.
Cash.
So I'll never stop. I will never stop. My danger is, so I have a 10-year-old and I have a 13-year-old. How do you tell a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old, I don't want you getting any tattoos when they look at their father and he's covered?
I think they should just look at their father and say, I'll do whatever you say, Dad, because this is one scary-looking man. And you go up to a 10-year-old and go, you'll never have a tattoo. That kid should just say, okay, Dad, I'll never get a tattoo.
I never hit my kids. Huh? Never once. Never touched my kids. Never laid a hand on us.
Cash!
Somebody likes that.
Yes.
Never touched my kids once, but I'm still able to give them a look, and they're able to just bring right down. And that's the way I want it to be.
That's the way my father disciplined me and my two brothers. He bit his lip like this. As soon as he did that, we started crying. Daddy's going to kick the shit out of us. And he never had to. My mother beat the shit out of us.
Oh, my mother, wooden spoon. Did you ever get the wooden spoon?
I'll get the size of the one behind you.
Yeah, well, there's a funny story about that. My brother, who was Mr. Goody Two-Shoes, wanted to get my mother one of them for Christmas. I said, why don't you just get her a gun? She's going to kill me with that thing.
Look at this. Look at all the stars. I think we made $5.
Nice.
Yeah, keep on saying. Send that money. My Stugats, how you doing? Listen, we're going to say hello to everybody. And we're going to have everybody have the opportunity to say hello to Kevin and ask him some questions because we're going to get into the crux of why he's here and where you could see him after we're done having fun. It was my idea to start talking about the tattoos because that's just the way I run my show. I don't like following no format, although we do have a format. I like going for the craziness of doing some things different. Besides, this is 2023, and this is the first podcast of the new year. I've heard that many people who do go get tattoos, they end up just keep on going.
It'll never stop. But there's psychology behind it. So the psychology behind a tattoo is people are uncomfortable in their skin, so they try to cover themselves. Is that true? I don't know.
That's kind of what I said about my cut. I don't like the way it looks, so I'm going to cover it with something.
Scar tattooing right now is a big thing. So women who have C-section scars, it's a specialty that a lot of tattoo artists won't do. But if it's done correctly, you won't even see the scar. It's really big with women. They don't like the look of that C-section scar.
I find certain tattoos on women very sexy. There is a little bit of a too much. Some people get a little out of hand. You know, you got these people tattooing their face. It's kind of like, okay,
Well, some of the faces look jacked up.
yes.
Jacked up.
Guys doing their face, stretching their earlobes. Their earlobe looks like a spaghetti noodle. I don't even like the nose ring, the one that goes through the bottom of a ring. You look like you're like some bull that's going to be attached to a fence or some shit like that. It looks stupid. What if you sneeze and a snot gets stuck to the ring and you're a hot chick? Now all of a sudden you're a 3. It's disgusting.
Well, the kids today. I'm gonna bash the kids today. So the kids today get tattoos. They get them where people can see them. I will tell you this: until I found my profession, my life's work, I never got a tattoo below the sleeve line. Once I found out where I was working for the rest of my life and I knew it was acceptable, I got it. These kids today, I see 18, 20-year-old kids with tattoos on their neck, on their ears, and don't complain when you can't get a high-paying job because of all the tattoos.
They got these kids, they put this neck tattoo, looks like they're wearing a turtleneck. It's just not cool. And I saw this one girl in the news, her neck was that of a skeleton jaw. So it's kind of like, well, you go to give this girl a hickey, you might be thinking you're getting bitten by a skull.
Well, people who put the rings in their nose, they're obviously not fighters. You know exactly where I'm going with that. What's the first thing you'd grab if you were in a fight with somebody with a nose ring?
Their wallet. Hey, I got to get something out of it. I'm probably going to get beat up.
Yeah.
I'm going to go home for some cash. All right. Well, let's rewind. Kevin here spent a lot of his life on the police force. What made you get into being a cop? You know, back in the day, of course, when I was in school, people would say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And everybody had the thought back then, I want to be a police officer. I want to be a fireman. I want to be a nurse. I want to be president of the United States. You know, things like that. That was my era. How about you?
I got to tell you, that was never my dream. I never wanted to become a cop. Okay, my brother, on the other hand, took test after test after test. I think prior to me getting on the force, I took one test. I applied. I didn't even take the test. I applied for the state police. I got graduate degrees. I don't have any tickets. I've never been arrested. And they denied me. It was in '99 or something. I kind of did it as a joke with my brother. And then I'm in the gym one day, and I was working in this company where I was traveling coast to coast, and that's why I sympathize with you. You're living out of a suitcase 4 weeks out of the month, gets old real quick. Guy in the gym asked me, he's like, hey, why don't you become a cop? You know, you get a good pension, you get a good benefits, you can make a difference in the world. And I said, you know what, sounds pretty good. Took the test. The rest is history. It was the first test I really ever took. And, when I got on, my perception of the job changed. When I got on, I realized that this is not just a job. This is a calling. This is something that gives you peace. It gives you hope. When somebody's looking to call somebody and they don't know who else to call, they call the cops. You know, the sad part is we never get the good news. We never get called out to see somebody, has a graduation party or the birth of a new child. We get called out for the worst of the worst. So we see the worst in humanity.
Wait a minute. You just wrote a joke. That would be hilarious. Yes, we call the police because we need them. For anywhere from the typical, there's a cat in a tree, to there's a robbery, domestic violence. Could you imagine?
Well, let's give it a shot.
Hello, officer. Yeah, listen, we're having a party, and everybody here is wasted. We are having so much fun. You should come over.
No, we'll do this. It's police department. Yeah, I just want to let you know that my son started dating that hot chick in high school. You know, I just wanted to let you know. All right, I'll talk to you later. Hang up. You know, that's a little bit.
You're never gonna get it.
No,
hey, it's my birthday.
Yeah, right.
Hello, 911. Yeah, I just got laid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I broke my cherry.
Did you use protection?
I got to do this quick shout out while I'm watching. Fortunato's Bakery in Brooklyn, New York, in the Williamsburg area is absolutely phenomenal. Mikey, what's going on, man? Happy New Year. Happy New Year, man. I'm sorry I've been out of touch. I've been touring the country, but I need to come back to Brooklyn and get your pastries going. We got some pastries on the show tonight. We're going to talk about this in a little while. This is a crumb cake that smells better than anything in this house. And we have pizza.
That's because you're sitting next to me, though.
Yeah, he smells like drug car noir. He's from the 80s. All right, so Fortunato, it's nice to see you. So your brother wanted to be a cop, you didn't.
No, I had no interest in
Is
it
your brother
whatsoever.
still a cop?
He is.
What's your
He is.
brother's name?
My brother's name's Jim.
Jim.
Yeah.
Younger?
Older. Older. So I got on, actually, all the tests he took, I got on before him. And that's kind of true. He was a corrections officer first before he was a police officer. But
Corrections officer meaning he worked in the prison.
yes, yes, he worked in the prisons, and it just, it wasn't for me. It wasn't a job that appealed to me. But I got hired in June of 2001, and I was in the police academy in August 2001. And of course, we all know what happened in September of 2001.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. The job, so I worked in a real small suburban town, a very safe town. As a matter of fact, during the interview process, I asked the police chief, I said, hey, you ever lost an officer in the line of duty? And he snapped back at me and said, no. So that was my way of asking, is this a safe town? Is this, what's the crime like? But I'm sitting in the police academy, and we found out the second plane hit the tower. The girl sitting to the right of me was a girl named Chris, and I won't say her last name because I believe she's still a cop. Her father worked for Cantor Fitzgerald, and we know how that one ended.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. The job changed after that. I got to tell you, the job just changed. We went from being very. So here's the good thing: we went from being very unpopular as police to being very popular because people wanted us around. And but when I got on, I realized that it's not about that job is not about arresting bad guys and police chasing. Yes, that does happen. That job's a service-oriented job. It's about going to people and making them feel safe just for a moment. And that's what I loved about it.
Yes. I always felt safe when cops were around. I still do. I don't know why I would ever think differently. Not too long ago, I was here in New Jersey doing a show, and I finished, and I was driving home, and the cop pulled me over. And he was a state trooper, and he pulled me over, came over to the right side of the car. Now, I know how to be pulled over. I'm a typical normal human being, I would assume. And although I've done so many fundraisers for police officers, and I have a lot of PBA cards and a badge in my car, which we'll talk about from Los Angeles, I didn't take out anything. I didn't take out any of these get out of jail free cards that I could have. But I put my hands on the wheel like you're supposed to, and you don't move until they ask you to move. If I was a cop and somebody moved before I asked a question, I'd shoot. I'd be petrified. I'm like, 2 in the head. Shouldn't have moved, sorry. And then he asked the question. He actually said, I'm pulling you over because you were weaving. I wanted to see if you were okay. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm okay. And he goes, can I see your credentials? He said, credentials? I've never even heard that. So I handed him the license, and I handed him the insurance, and I handed him the registration because, ladies and gentlemen, you're proving that you're the owner of the car. It's not that big of a deal, and you're also saying, I'm a licensed driver. Give it. I can't stand watching these videos when these people say, you don't have the right to ask me that. I actually know this because I taught traffic safety courses in California. It was called Comedy Traffic School. They made the comedians teach the class because we made it funny for the person who hated you. And that's the way it did. So I knew the vehicle code book. I used to know the numbers, the letters, the whole 9 yards, hold the steering wheel and whatever. So I gave him all this stuff. He went back to his car, and I'm saying to myself, I hope he doesn't give me a ticket because, I am licensed in a different state. It's going to be a pain in the ass. He came back over to the car and he said, I just wanted to make sure you're all right. Drive safe. And he left.
You want to know why that happened? I'm going to tell you right now because it was one of the primary lessons I learned in the police academy by a very good friend of mine by the name of Richie Valentine. He told me, I see you and I raise you one. And I've carried that throughout my life. I see you and I raise you one. If you're a dick to me, I can be a super dick. All right? I'll be a bigger dick than you. Trust me, I can do it. But if you're nice to me, I'm going to be extra nice to you. I'm going to give what I get. And that's what you did to that officer. You gave him respect, and he gave it to you back. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, I don't know why people just couldn't be nice about it. It's not that big of a deal. You're probably going to get to go anyway.
Detective Chris Anderson, good friend of mine.
Is that?
That's my co-author of the book. Man, you are crazy.
Christopher, how you doing? It's nice to meet you, Detective.
Star of First 48, star of Reasonable Doubt, and Crime and Cookie Juice podcast.
Crime and Cookie Juice podcast. Well, you're gonna have to have a comedian on your show. I come with cake.
That's right. That's right. That's Crime and Cookie Juice. Cookie Juice actually means something different.
A long time ago, when I first moved out to Los Angeles from New Jersey, my career took a little bit of a hit. I grew up doing TV commercials. Never thought I was going to become a comedian. So I got this job at the Improv on Melrose Avenue in Hollywood. It was called Comedy Traffic School, and you had to have a 8-hour program would take the points off your license. So if you had a speeding ticket going through a red light, stop sign, fix-it ticket, this was not for DUI. This was for a basic 2-point ticket. You had the 2 points removed from your license by going to the 8-hour program. So they devised a system. Why don't get comedians licensed by the DMV to teach the course so we can make it funny? They also get free tickets to go to a comedy show. So while I was teaching the class, I start meeting all these people. I'm rehearsing all my jokes, but I knew everything about the roads. That's when they actually started coming out with, they take your picture at intersection and you would go through the light and then find that you had a ticket in the mail and you ended up in my class. There were movie stars in the class and writers and producers. You would see everybody, celebrities. One time, Joy Buttafuoco actually came into my comedy traffic school class, and the first thing he said was, "If I give you a couple extra bucks, can I leave now?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm Italian. I'm from New Jersey. Yeah, come on, give me the money." And that's the way we did it. But I ended up doing fundraisers for police departments so many times, and the first big one was me and Vinny Pastore from The Sopranos
Sure.
for 9/11 at the police academy in Los Angeles.
I actually met him a few times.
Vinny?
Vinny, yeah, I met him a couple times. The woman in The Sopranos who played Ginny Sacks was a woman named Denise Marino. She's since passed. She was a wonderful woman. She lived in the town I worked in.
Right.
She's that one who did the out of like 1,000 people showed up for a casting call. She got it.
Right.
She got it. And she ended up, poor girl ended up dying of cancer. But
Ugh.
Vinny was at the funeral along with David Chase and a couple of the other Sopranos, and what a genuinely nice man he is.
He was a good guy. We went up there. We did the show. It was a fundraiser for, the families of police officers and firemen who were killed in that situation. And then I went on to do many, many more. And that's when, this is going way back. Chief Bratton, I guess, left either Boston or New York. He became the chief of police in Los Angeles. I did a series of fundraisers for so many different LAPD, CHP, detectives. They gave me a reserve status badge, which looked like I was part of the FBI. And all I had to do was take a course, and I could have carried a gun. I never did any of that. And I only pulled that badge out of my car once in Los Angeles when I got pulled over for speeding. And I'll never forget, the cop says to me, he goes, "What did you do to get this?" He goes, I've never seen
the police department a lot of money is what you
I
did.
said, "I'm a comedian. I did a lot of fundraisers." And he goes, "You got to be shitting me." I'm like, "No." I even roasted the governor. "Can I have my badge back?" And then he said, "Are you carrying a sidearm?" And I'm like, "Wow, I really could get one, couldn't I?" And he goes, "Do you have one?" And I said, "No."
A lot of former actors or sports stars get into reserves. That guy Eddie Haskell from Leave It to Beaver. He was an LAPD cop.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he recently just passed, but he was an LAPD cop. Lou Ferrigno was a reservist. Shaquille O'Neal does a lot of stuff with the police, and Shaquille O'Neal actually shows what real police work is. I saw a video. Kids were out playing basketball. The cops show up. The kids think they're in trouble. It's inner city somewhere, and out pops Shaq and goes and shoots some hopes with them. That's what police work is about. Police work is about protecting the community, not arresting the community or harassing them. And that's the perception of police that's got to change. And it's only going to change from within. Because I'll be honest with you, there are some cops out there that aren't like that. But by far and large, most of the cops are beautiful.
Well, you know what? It's the same old saying. There's always one asshole in amongst millions of people who are not. And it's sad to say that they're the ones that are in the news, and the good ones aren't. Like the many phone calls that you get because
Nice.
of people doing bad things, rather than somebody calling the police department saying, "Hey, I just wanted to let you guys know, we think you're doing a great job. Have a great day."
Every group of people, no matter on down the line, you're always judged by your lowest common denominator.
Right.
There are comedians out there who are not nice people. You probably know them.
Oh.
Okay, but then there are comedians who are absolute sweethearts, genuine human beings, Mr. Marino included. And your good friend Sean Kanan, who I met last weekend.
Great guy.
Beautiful, beautiful man. But you're all judged by your lowest common denominator. So if I meet this jerk comedian, I'm going to say, comedians they're just jerks. They're self-absorbed.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes. Unfortunately, that is way too true because even let's say I was going out on a date with some girl and she goes, "You're a comedian?" And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Yeah, you're all really, really nasty people." I'm like, "What the fuck?
Yep.
What made you say that?" And she goes, "Well, I had some really bad experiences." I go, "With how many others?" "Well, just one." Larry Lawton sending in the money.
Very
What's
nice.
up, Larry? Larry Lawton gave me a box of cigars. We're going to talk about that in a little while. I want to get back to our guest. So you didn't want to become a cop, but you became a cop. And how many years did you do on the force?
I did a total of 13 years. Unfortunately, I had to depart from the job, not of my own will, because I was involved in a shooting that kind of screwed me up a little bit.
All right, so could we talk about that?
Sure.
Give us the story.
I responded to a domestic at one of our townhouse complexes. He decided he couldn't live without his girlfriend. And so he went to the house from Florida, put a gun to her head, and the woman calls 911, drops the phone, because 911 in the state of New Jersey, if you're called, you got to come. The police got to come whether it's misdialed or not. We go there, we start banging on the door. He's yelling from inside, "Don't come in here, door's locked." And it ain't like the movies. You can't kick down doors. It doesn't work that way. They're steel doors, very, very difficult. So my partner goes around the back. I'm in the front. We start banging the door with a crowbar. It's called a Halligan bar. It's like a fireman's crowbar. And all of a sudden you hear pop, pop, pop. My partner and him exchange gunfire. So we run around the back. There's another officer covering the front. We run around the back, and we're stuck in a deck that's like 15 by 9, in one of those townhouse privacy decks. And we can see the victim in there. And our job is to get the victim to safety. And this is obviously the very abbreviated version of this. We throw a chair through because we can't see him. We throw a chair through the sliding glass door, and yeah, he's right around the corner and decides to pull his gun around there and fires point blank at me, where I was. The bullet missed my my left ear by about, they think it's less than 2 inches. They're not 100% sure because it hit a flower pot behind me. And I go down, not knowing, this time I had no idea whether I was shot. I go down on the glass, so there's my arms. I still have glass in my arm, but the way I fell, there's blood just starts squirting out everywhere. So I figure I'm shot. And, but the cool thing, it's actually very interesting because when your adrenaline's going, you think you might be scared. There was absolutely zero fear. Everything was calm. Everything was very, very lucid. I could think, I thought of my kids. I thought of my wife. I thought of everybody down the line. And I said, you know what? This is my time. I'm going to die, but you're coming with me. So I get in the shooting position and I prepare to die. And thankfully, because I was trapped where I was. I couldn't get out. If I got out, he had a clear shot at me. Thankfully, there were some officers that night that ran away. They left me for dead. I'm not joking you. They left me for dead, but thankfully there was 2 officers who stayed there and held cover on the door while the other one, because I'm laying on my stomach, grabbed the back of my belt and helped me out, so I was able to get to safety. And at this time the guy runs upstairs. We're holding perimeter until the hostage negotiator gets there. The victim is able to stand up and just sleek out the front door because he's on the second floor hiding from us. So the victim's out. A guy can stay in there for 10 years if we want to.
What happened to the victim?
So the victim's still in there at this point, but she stands up slowly and sort of goes up against the wall real slow and gets out. So
She's shot, but
No.
did he hurt her?
So what we find out is when my partner exchanged gunfire with him, he was raising his gun to her head, and he's going to kill her.
Right.
And that's when the shooting started. So this guy shot at police twice.
Right.
We fully expected him to come out and let's do a suicide by cop.
Right.
He's going to let us kill him. So we hold the perimeter. The negotiator comes, or the hostage team comes. We get relieved. I got to go to the hospital, get bandaged up my arm. They end up talking the guy out. And I didn't think much of it at the time. I didn't think anything of it. But I tell you this, I go home that night, hug my wife, hug my children as tight as I could. And I figured they gave me an extra day off. I'm like, cool, I got a 4-day vacation. But then the real bad stuff happens. The really bad stuff happens. I was sitting in a movie, where it started is I was sitting in a movie theater and I'm watching a comedy.
Well, wait. Before we go any further, what exactly happened to the guy?
So he got talked out, arrested. So the joke of it is after all the trial and everything, he got 6 years. He did 4 for attempted murder on a police officer. That's the criminal system. The criminal justice system in the United States is broken.
Why wasn't it attempted murder on the girl?
It was, but attempted murder. So attempted murder on a police officer carries a heavier fine or heavier jail sentence.
Right.
The other one's just aggravated assault with a weapon.
When the guy get out, though, do you know what happened? Did he go after that girl again? What was her situation? Did she say, thank you guys, I can't believe you're here, he's nuts, he's trying to kill me? What was the situation? Like, why is a guy actually in that situation with a gun ready to kill this person? What you know, guess, you know, do you ever figure out what the hell were you guys doing?
Yeah, well, you know, she broke up with him because obviously there's something wrong. She filed for a temporary restraining order the day before and was granted it. So she knew something was going on. But that's what it was. It was he didn't want to live without her anymore. He figured if I can't have you, nobody can. And that happens all too often.
People are fucking nuts, man.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Well, so for years after that, I was so mad at him because of all the post-traumatic stress that was from this incident really screwed up my life. I was so mad at him for screwing up my life. So far removed from the incident, here's my thought process, and this is going to sound crazy. 2 things. Number 1, what was he going through that drove him to that? What was going on in his mind that drove him to shoot at an officer, to attempt to kill this nice lady? And, you know, the second part of it, and this is going to sound really screwed up. Where my life is now, I am thankful that he did it because he released a lot of stuff in me. Sounds weird.
That you had pent up before that?
I had, you know, so police work slowly carves away at your soul. You're seeing things. I've been to so many autopsies. I've seen people cut open. I've seen people dead on the highway. And that stuff is stuff that you're not supposed to see as a human being. And it slowly carves away at your soul.
Yeah.
All right. And then it's going to take my event happened to be pretty big, but I know other officers who it's an innocuous event and they just break. So the way my career was going and all the stuff that I had seen, eventually that was going to happen. Either I was going to end up getting divorced or I was going to end up killing myself, which, you know, it's a big problem in the police world. So by him doing that, it it escalated the time, or it abbreviated the time frame of that. And I was able to get through it. But I got to be honest with you, when it was bad, it was bad.
Did you ever go to the jail and say, hey, listen, fucker, I'm the guy you shot at?
He's not in jail anymore. He's out. He's been out for several years. And I come across a friend of mine a few years ago that actually knows him. And they were trying to get us together. And I'm more than willing to meet him. They were trying to get us together. And if I ever went face to face with him, I'm going to tell you right now. His name's Anthony Vocatoro.
Anthony
Vocatoro. And it's not the dentist that's in New Jersey. It's his cousin, I believe. If I ever saw Anthony Vocatoro now, I'd give him, I'm telling you right now, if he came walking down those stairs in your mother's basement, I'd probably give him a hug.
Right.
Because I forgive him. He was going through some really bad times. I'm sure he didn't want to be in that situation. I'm sure he looks back with regret right now, but you can't unring that bell.
No, you can't unring that bell, boy. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he got to talk to her.
I don't think so. I think there's a final restraining order. If he goes anywhere near her, he's going to go right back to prison. And I don't think so. I know friends of mine that have spoken to this girl, and she's very grateful and she's very thankful that we did. I've never had a chance to speak with her. I'd like to one day. I don't even know her name, but I don't think. I think she's got a lot of healing to do as well.
I couldn't even imagine what it would be like to be her and go through that and ever go out on a date with another human being again, ever, unless it was me.
Well, you're totally different. You're a comedian. And
I know, I was trying to
guys.
make light of the subject matter. But man, holy shit.
This isn't your average comedy show. So.
No, it's got nothing,
Yeah.
there's not, yeah.
But, you know, so throughout the process, when I was going downhill, and I know this is dark this is a dark comedy. Okay. I tried, because the pain in the back of my head was so great, I tried numerous times to kill myself. But not all of it.
In your mind.
No, for real. I had guns in my mouth. I've had ropes around my neck. I know it's this is, you want to talk about gallows humor. Police have the worst humor in the world. I tried to hang myself, and it was a insufficient rope from the ceiling. The rope breaks, and I knock myself out. I wake up on the floor.
When was this?
Um, so stuff starts going downhill. Like, you can't sleep, or if you do get some sleep, you have such bad nightmares that you wake up and you like. There's so many times I woke up, I had to check and see if I didn't piss myself because you're just drenched in sweat. You have no, so that part in your brain where you see a guy walking down the street who did you wrong, owes you money, say, I'd like to beat the shit out of him.
Yes.
Okay. When you have a damage, a trauma to your brain like that, because that's what it is. It's a traumatic brain injury. There is no buffer between action or to thought and action. It goes pew, right out of you. My poor wife took the brunt of it. I called her every name in a book. I spit at her. I threw things at her because if she ticked me off, there was nothing in my head to say, hey, look, that's not a good idea. So she deserves a medal for staying with me. And that's the truth.
What about the effect on the other guy that was with you that was shooting?
I haven't spoken to him all that much. So I was so embarrassed.
Is he still a cop?
He's still a cop. I was so embarrassed by the way I was feeling and the way I handled this. I didn't talk to anybody. I shut down. I anesthetized myself with alcohol, and they gave me. So when you go in these things, they give you medication. They give you an anti-anxiety and they give you an antidepressant. So I was on Klonopin and Lexapro, and you take some Klonopin and you drink, it intensifies it, so you become a real cheap date, and you just go down and you just disassociate yourself with everybody and everything, and all I was trying to do was numb the pain.
Yeah. I can't even imagine what that would feel like. So that's why you quit the force, or?
I was able to retire because of that. I was able to retire, thankfully, so I was able to get some of my pension, and I was able so I can provide for my family. But it wasn't until I stepped into, you think you're all alone, you think nobody can understand what you're thinking of. It wasn't until I faced and turned around and stopped anesthetizing myself that I was able to sort of give the pain a little hug and say, it's going to be okay. And I embraced my pain. And so after I did that, the duration of the pain became much shorter. You don't know how many times I used to hear thunder and lightning storms and I'd have to go hide under a blanket or hide in the closet. I'm a grown man. I'm 6'4". I'm 230 pounds. I'm not a small guy. And here I am hiding in a closet, shivering like a little wimp. It's emasculating.
Yeah, I wouldn't picture a guy like you running from the rain.
That was me.
You're a pretty big dude.
That was me. But when I turned around and I faced it, I started feeling better. I started feeling, and then I went out and started giving that information that helped me feel better to other people. And that's what really started to change things.
This is after you retired?
This was after I retired. I bounced around from job to job. I used to like construction. Like, I used to really love construction because the difference is in the police world, if somebody pisses you off, you have to maintain composure. You can't do anything. But in construction, you get into an argument with somebody, you either throw fists or you talk it out. But at the end of the day, you get back to work. There's no HR department in most construction crews.
Right.
Yeah, but it's totally different in police department. You get charged, you could lose your job, and then you got to go explain to your wife why you lost your job because you punched somebody in the nose. But that's a tough thing. It's a tough thing to deal with, especially with police, because most of them are type A personalities. They're what you would consider an alpha male or an alpha female. And then to be emasculated that way, it's a hard turn to make. Now, I'm past it. I'm through it. I actually wear
How long ago was the shooting?
It was on July 10th, 2013.
And then you did 13 more years on the force? Or?
No. I did 13 years, retired in 2014 finally. And it took me a good 3-4 years to get beyond the pain. And then once I got beyond the pain, there's a lot of beauty on the other side of that pain.
Because now you're helping people that are in that pain.
That's all I want to do. So I've just become I tried to become an advocate for mental health. Mm-hmm. The mental health in the police world has been so tucked under, it's getting better now, but it was so tucked under the carpet. They train their bodies physically to withstand all the different rigors of the job, but nobody trains your mind. Your mind is actually the thing you should be training the most. So when I talk to another officer, especially, and I reach out to officers who are involved in shootings, I would say, okay, watch out for these things. If these things happen, we need to talk because I understand what they're going through. Because no cop's going to sit there and talk to a therapist who has no clue what the hell they're talking about. They've never gone through it.
No, they couldn't possibly.
Yeah.
I don't think almost anybody could, because it's almost like being in war all the time, but there's no real war, and then you battle in your head.
Right.
So when did you start the podcast, and tell us about the book and how now you're helping people who have to go through what you went through?
So the podcast was just an extension of group therapy. Group therapy for me was we had officers who were involved in shootings. And it was talking to them, talking through the pain and showing how that's not a weakness, that's actually a strength. It's going to make you a better person at the end. And it was during lockdown. It was one of those crazy ideas because I'm not a New Year's resolution guy. I'm just like, if I get an idea, I still broke my brain's still broken. If I get an idea, it just comes out. So I started bringing in people with a story, with a traumatic story, officers, vets, the average citizen, because everybody's got suffering. So it's an evergreen concept. Everybody has their own junk, and it steamrolled from there. I brought in my partner who was another officer. Who was involved.
Well, let's
in
tell
shooting.
everybody what the name of the podcast is.
It's called The Suffering Podcast. Just to, we're around on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all major podcast platforms. We're now entering into our third season, which will start airing on Monday. I'll even give it out. I'll give you an exclusive on the show. So our first guest is the famous boxer Jerry Cooney.
We were talking about having Jerry Cooney come down the basement today.
Yeah, Jerry Cooney's a wonderful man. He's humongous. He's 6'7", and first time I met him, he shakes my hand. He's a lefty. Shakes my hand with the right hand, comes around with the ribs in the left hand. I thought he broke my ribs. And he's in his mid-60s now, but wonderful human being. Jerry fought some of his own personal battles because when he was fighting Holmes, he was going down a bad path with alcohol and drugs.
Oh,
yeah, but he came through.
the Great White Hope.
Yeah, he came.
That would have been something. Yeah, we were talking about having Jerry Cooney come down to the basement, and I think that'd be a great idea. But you also have a book, and I want everybody to log on where they could find that book, because there's a lot of people out there, and I could tell by everybody who's writing in up top that have some problems with PTSD. So maybe this is one of the books you need to take a look at, and the podcast, The Suffering, is something you need to watch.
So The Suffering Podcast, just look for us on YouTube. Actually, look for this logo, and you'll see it out there. Again, you notice the lightning bolt. It all stems from that first tattoo. Lightning bolt has been tied to me it will be tied to me for the rest of my life. The book is called Man, You Are Crazy. And myself and Detective Chris Anderson are going to be co-authoring the book, and it's about mental health within the police field. We're going to have therapists that are chiming in. Our portion of the book is going to be our personal stories of how this job slowly chips away at your soul and how to overcome it. How did he overcome it? How did I overcome it? It's due out probably late summer, early fall 2023. It's going through the process now. You can go to manyouarecrazy.com. On there, it'll be a jumping off point to all of our social media links. I think Instagram is Man You Are Crazy Book. And there's my friend Julie. She's actually my publisher. So
Oh.
she's biased.
Hi, Julie. How you doing? Thanks you for posting that. And if you want to, we're right down here on the other camera. This is Facebook. This is my fan page, Mike Marino Live. If you could put that same link down here, these people will actually see that as well if you want to do that. And yes, trauma is real.
So it's
Thank you, Julie.
manyouarecrazy.com and sufferingpodcast.com. You can find out all about it. Follow us on this. It's real. Listen, I'm in this place now that I can't believe is happening. I went through something bad, and I know everybody goes through something bad, but out of a bad situation comes hope.
Yes. I mean, I never thought I'd still be in the basement after all these years.
And you know
When I
what?
first came here, I was only 8. I'm still here.
I gotta give it to you, Mike. You've been so generous to me. I went to your show at NJPAC. You made me laugh. You made me forget whatever troubles were going on in my life. And that's what comedy is so strong, and it's needed. And that's why police fundraisers are so important. Cops need to laugh. We're human beings. And what you provide for them is it's the greatest service you can give.
One of the saddest things is, I remember when I was a kid, I was born in Jersey City, and you sat on that stoop, and you sat there with your friends, and when the cop came walking down the street, you stood at attention. And your father said, you see that guy? If he ever has to call me because you did something stupid, I'm going to kick the shit out of you myself. And you respected that police officer, and you wanted to be that police officer. You wanted to have that bat, that baton that he was spinning when he came down the street. It wasn't just the movies. He really did do that. That was Wallace Avenue in Jersey City. A lot of the cops were Irish back at that time.
Well, so that brings me up to a point, and I wanted to bring this up because I was thinking about this today. I love your campaign. I'm going to vote for you when you run for president in 2024. Make America Italian again. The problem I have with that is it's a little exclusive. Okay, it's a little exclusive. We need to bring more inclusivity. I know Italians and Irish get along really, really well. I married an Italian.
Right.
Okay, so I just want to throw my hat in the ring and be considered for maybe your VP on your ticket. And we'll make America Italian and Irish again.
Well, this year the tour is actually called Welcome to the Family, because I want everybody to be part of the family, because once I get in the White House, we're going to need the family members.
Well, so instead of sopping up the gravy with some Italian bread, we'll just use
You
soda
said
bread.
gravy.
Well, soda bread, right?
Soda bread? I
Yeah,
don't even
soda
know what
bread
the hell
and
that
gravy.
is.
Soda bread and gravy. Corned beef Parmesan.
If we could take a quick second to say something fun about food, now would actually be a good time. We had a couple of slices of pizza. Well, I had some pizza. He doesn't want to eat before he does the podcast. But when we're done, he's probably going to have a couple of slices of pizza.
Absolutely.
This guy's in great shape. He doesn't look like he eats anything that you're not supposed to eat to be in this kind of great shape. If I was ever in some kind of a domestic violence, some shit, and this guy came along, I'd be like, you know what, just I was kidding. It was a joke. We were shooting a movie. He was faking the whole thing. This looks like something out of RoboCop.
You're making me blush.
But we have some really cool snacks here on the show. And why don't we just say hello to the people who brought it over? There's a great pastry shop in the area. It's called La Bon. I hope I'm saying it right. Laban.com. Now, how many people remember one of the greatest crumb cakes in the world when when you were done? See, I don't want to say I partied with a cop on my show, but when you were done getting drunk, you went to the 7-Eleven and you got Entenmann's. But if you want to go above Entenmann's and you get crumb cake that just reeks of crumb cake, look at this. I can't wait to make a cappuccino in a little while and bite into this thing because my artery is going to clog my heart. That's how thick this crumb cake is. And we got this brought to us tonight by Laban. There's also another...
You didn't even open that one.
Yeah, no, I did actually. You
God.
son of a bitch.
No donuts? Come on, it's cops and donuts. I'm actually kind of offended.
The smell of these cakes. I'm not even going to... there's a cheesecake in here with a strawberry. There's some cookies. It's going to be a late night. It's going to be a late night. I want to thank... our friends who brought this over from Laban. There's one in South Plainfield, Woodbridge, Somerset, and Edison, because nobody does pastries better than the state of New Jersey unless you're in New York. I want to do a quick shout out, and I'm going to give you some of these too. I don't know if you're a cigar smoker, but my friend Larry Lawton, who has a really incredible podcast called Larry Lawton Live, he also has cigars now, and these cigars are called Crooked Diamond. Now, I'm really not a big cigar smoker, but since I have these and they look so beautiful, I'm going to become a cigar smoker. In fact, I'm going to have a cappuccino, a piece of cheesecake, and a cigar. Look at these bad boys.
Looking nice.
I also got a nice T-shirt. Do you sell your shirts?
I do. If you go on sufferingpodcast.com, you'll be able to find them.
Go on the sufferingpodcast.com. Buy yourself a nice shirt. Donate some money. Nobody's been donating money for the last 10 minutes. I was making great money. We were up to at least $275. I don't know what happened. Here's another one of our friends who should be in the basement with us right now. That's Paul Simmons of Autism Radio. His whole radio podcast is dedicated to families living with autism or autistic children. So, let's take in some questions for our retired police officer. Where's the money?
There you go.
Who is now doing public speaking. He can come to your place of business and talk about how he healed himself and how he can help you heal yourself, if I'm saying that correctly. And you can get his book autographed When can they get the book?
Well, it's not due out until summer or fall of 2023.
Summer. So then, oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Your publicist put it right here on the
that's
the Facebook.
That's Julie.
All right,
Julie's
Julie.
amazing.
Thank you,
Oh, no,
Julie.
that's
Jessica.
Jessica is talking to you. She does all our PR.
All right. Well, you're welcome, Jessica. We love you wherever you are. If she's the one in Florida?
That's Florida. So
Florida, all right. I'm coming to Florida starting tomorrow. I'm going to be touring 2 weeks in Florida, 2 weeks in Los Angeles, then 5 weeks in Florida with a whole new comedy show called Welcome to the Family. All right, Captain Splash.
You're going to make me put my glasses on.
Well, I can't read without my glasses. So we're taking in questions. If anybody wants to ask Kevin a question, do it so now. You should be going to middle and high schools to teach, to speak.
You know, funny enough, when I went to college, it was to be a high school teacher. I was an English literature major.
Well, it looks like you're going to go back to school and do some speeches. This is from Paul Simmons. Would love to know what was the best speaking event you did where you realized your defining moment.
So I got a chance to speak at a college with two other high-profile ex-criminals. One of them is Mike Dowd from the documentary The 7-5 on Netflix, and the other one's John Alede, who used to be tied in with John Gotti as one of their enforcers. And we all went out there and showed how the funny thing about criminals and police is when we retire, we're two ex-soldiers meeting on the battlefield, and we actually have a lot in common. The three of us went out, we did this speech, and we reached criminal justice students to show that we can come together, we can overcome our differences, we can heal, because we all have a lot of the same problems. You know, they did what they did, and the effects are they're kind of similar. I was on one side of the law, they were on the other side of the law. So that was probably one of the most gratifying speeches, because you have people from both sides showing up and coming together for a common goal.
You got another question over here. Where were you a police officer?
I don't know. Should I give out the name? I was Roseland, New Jersey. It's in Essex County.
Roseland. I don't think I'm familiar with Roseland.
It's right next door to Livingston.
Livingston. Okay. Hold on a minute. We're taking questions, folks. That just came from Eric. This is Ann. There's your publicist, Derry. Thank you, Mike. I saw your schedule, Mike Marino Live. Oh, okay, cool.
We'll get Jessica out to a show over there.
That is awesome. Right.
But, you know, you're only as good as the team behind you. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention my podcast partner, Mike Falaise. He was a Lyndhurst police officer who was involved in a shooting in 2014. He came after mine. I knew Mike for 30 some odd years because I used to work with his brother before I was a cop, but I didn't know him, and we just sort of gelled and hit it off.
Speaking of brothers, how's your brother? Like he's still a cop.
He's still a cop, you know. He's doing his thing.
Does he ever talk to you about what he might be going through?
No. My brother's not that. He's not the talking to. My family wasn't the talking.
He's different.
Well, that's why I love Your Mother's Basement, because this is where people gather around the table and they talk about stuff. They actually talk. All right, that wasn't my family. You know, my family did things a little bit differently.
I get it, but I don't know. Sometimes talking could get you into a fight anyway.
Yeah, I know. Happy birthday. Is your birthday?
No, my birthday's not till February 2nd, but thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let's see who else we got out here. Joe Marino. Hey, Joe, how you doing? Autism. Have you done any specialized training on how to identify individuals with autism and how to handle the situation?
Yes, we did. We do extensive training on people with a disability, and I know it's hard to call autism a disability. It's really not. It's just somebody who's high functioning, but they kind of group them in there. And also emotionally disturbed people, EDPs, what they would call them, how to handle them. You know, the thing about like EDPs was more my specialty than say autistic children or autistic adults. Because an EDP, what I found out, just wants to be heard, just wants to be listened to. As long as you listen to them and don't judge them, you're going to be fine. At the end of the day, everything's going to work out. And I've been successful with that. I was very fortunate.
Here comes another question. What came first, being crazy or being a man?
Oh, my gosh. Jesus. Why does everybody... Again, we're all judged by the lowest common denominator. Just because I'm a man, I'm not crazy. Well, maybe I've always been a little bit crazy. I've always
I didn't really get the question.
Why men are crazy? I guarantee it was asked by a female. That's why men are crazy.
Yeah.
They'll drive you nuts.
Yes. I'm crazy.
Once in your
On your journey from your dark place to now, have you utilized exercise, yoga, meditation, etc. to help you heal?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Did you ever see a guy over 6 foot doing meditation? You'll see me doing meditation. And I do, so I'm a person of extremes. When I do my meditation, it's either hot or cold. You'll see, thankfully, I'm not going to give out my address here, but in the mornings when it's 20 degrees outside, I'm out on my back deck in my underwear because I have to focus on my breathing. I have to focus on everything and shut everything out. And the minute you break concentration, you get cold. But if you do it properly, you're good. You're good. But I meditate every day. And that was something big. Yoga, I'm about as flexible as a hard on. It's just not going to work with me. I love it. I've tried it. It's just, it's bad.
He said, I'm just about as flexible as a hard on. That is hilarious. Those things work. I'm glad they worked for you. I meditate every day on somebody I want to beat the shit out of. It's amazing. I meditate. I say to myself, one of these days I'm going to find this motherfucker and I'm going to kick the shit out of him. And that's going to make me feel good. I'm even writing a book. I'm crazier than shit.
Go to crazierthanshit.com.
Go to crazierthanshit.com. Pick up my book. It's only 2 pages.
Question courtesy of Julie Drost Logan.
Yes, it was asked by your publicist. Oh, well, hey.
Yes.
Like your publicist putting you in the hot seat.
Yeah, she really is. She's hammering me. I thought you were supposed to be on my side, Julie.
All right.
Oh, my God, Kevin, we are watching. Oh, so Julie is very prim and proper. I'm sorry for the comment about being less than limber. I do apologize.
You guys got secret codes. All right, listen, we got to get going. Tell us, everybody, and tell everybody out there listening where they can find you on all social media, and hope and get ready to see your book when it's out.
All right, so you can visit my website, realkevindonaldson.com. You can follow me on, or you can go to thesufferingpodcast.com. On Instagram, it's at The Suffering Podcast or at Real Kevin Donaldson. On TikTok, it's at The Suffering Podcast. I'm also on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. You just look for Kevin Donaldson. You'll be on there, or you look for The Suffering Podcast, and you will find us. Don't forget to check out ManYouAreCrazy.com or Man You Are Crazy Book on Instagram.
YouTheBomb.com, bro. All right, Julie. This is the one that's in Florida?
No, Julie's actually in Chicago.
Chicago. I just finished Chicago. I did Des Plaines, St. Charles, and Rockford. Where were you, Julie?
And Steve Boyd, he from Frontline Cigars, he was on earlier. I did see.
That's right, Steve.
Yeah.
Please connect Kevin with me to be on my show. Well, there you go. You just got on another podcast by being on live from my mother's basement. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we do got to get going. If you want to find out where my tour starts tomorrow in the world, all you got to do is go to MikeMarino.net. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mike Marino Live on YouTube and all social media. We want to do a nice big shout out to my producer, Tatiana Blue Shell, who now together with Tatiana, we've done over 265 podcasts, live events, and this is the first one of 2023, and I'm glad that I had Kevin Donaldson on the show. I want you to watch us and listen to us on iTunes, Google, Spotify, Anchor. Send us the money. You could also listen to this broadcast on Italian American radio in New York City. Yes, they do air Irish people. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, and send me some money on Patreon. You got any questions, just say, hey, Marino, send it to me, and I'll answer the question. You dig? Stay in touch. Let's make America Italian again. Our motto is going to be, and Irish.
Yes.
Remember, you don't know nothing, you don't see nothing, you don't say nothing. Tatiana is awesome. Thank you so much for saying that. Folks, if you would like to be on live from my mother's basement, write to my producer, Tatiana Blue Shell, at Mike Marino Entertainment at gmail.com. Would you like to sponsor one of the episodes? Write to me at Mike Marino Live at gmail.com. You want to be a fan, stay a fan. You want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, go to MikeMarino.net. Send me a letter. I'll send you some tickets to a show. I have new swag coming out this year. You're going to love it. So stay in touch with us. And we got to go. Now, how do I end every single one of my broadcasts? By always saying the same thing. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
Don't take no shit from nobody.
All right.
You ready?
Here, are you ready?
Don't take no shit from nobody. Good night, everybody. Takes me a while. Hey folks, I hope you're enjoying watching my podcast live from my mother's basement. We're having a lot of fun, and I'm going to have a lot of great guests on the show in the future. So if you like it, hit like. You could also leave a comment. You could subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch other funny videos. And you could also listen to my podcast on your favorite podcast app like Spotify and iTunes.